Hello Bellezas, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here then just welcome. Hi, my name is Brenda. I do paranormal videos here on my channel, so if that is something that you are interested in, please consider subscribing down below and turn on your post notifications so you do not miss when I post another video like this one. Now with all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. Hey everybody, happy Friday. I think this is going up on a Friday. Who knows anymore? My schedule is all over the place. Especially now with my podcast. I don't even know what I will be doing in the future. But if it is Friday, happy Friday. If not, happy whatever day of the week it is. As you can tell by today's title, you guys will see that today I will be reading some paranormal encounters from real life people. Real life encounters, no cap, hopefully, from people on Reddit. This subreddit that I found, it specifically asks for real events, and it also asks for people to not over exaggerate and to keep it as real as possible. No horror stories, if you know what I mean, like no fake ones, I guess is what they're trying to say. So we're going to be reading a few of those on here. I love learning about people's encounters with the paranormal because, as you guys know, I don't have very many of my own, which I'm thankful for because I honestly don't think I would be able to cope with that. But anyway, without any more blabbering, let me go ahead and pull up Reddit and let's get into these, shall we? And I'm sorry if you hear this. I have a little phone chain thing on my phone chain thing on my phone, yes. And I can't help the noise it makes, okay? And if it picks up on camera, sorry about it. I don't know what accent that was. All right, first encounter is by the user resident_ad_4493. And they say, I think I have a mimic / doppelganger / ghost. So about 4 or so years ago, I was across the street from my house at a friend's. I had been there for about 2 hours when my friend walked me home. Apparently, while I was standing outside of my house, my mom and her boyfriend were laying in their bed when they saw me in the hallway leading from their room to the kitchen, but I was wearing a nightgown and my hair was down. And I mean, it was so vivid that my mom tried to talk to me. However, I was actually wearing a t-shirt and jeans and my hair was up. So when I didn't respond and just disappeared into their bathroom, my mom even asked her boyfriend if he saw what she saw. He said yes. Safe to say they were pretty freaked out, but moved on. Fast forward a month or two later, I'm in the shower at the same house with a different friend sitting on the couch. Keep in mind, she knew nothing about what my mom saw, so she couldn't have just been messing with me. In this house, if you're sitting on the right side of the couch, where she was sitting, you can see the door to my bathroom on the left and the door to my bedroom straight ahead. Well, my bedroom was open so she could see into my bedroom, and she said she saw me. Once again, so vividly that she tried to talk to me, but I was facing away from her and I didn't respond, and then proceeded to turn around and walk towards my closet. My friend got up and walked into my room and I was gone. That's when she realized I was still in the shower. When I tell you, she almost jumped in the shower with me, and I actually almost cried because I knew she wasn't playing around. Fast forward once again, I've been in a new apartment for the last 3 years, and we've had no sign of me. Well, for the last year, my boyfriend has lived with me. My 10-year-old niece came to spend the night with us, and my boyfriend is a sweetheart, so he let her sleep in the bed with me, and he slept on the couch. Again, if you're sitting on our couch, you can see the bathroom straight ahead and our bedroom door to the left. Well, my boyfriend apparently heard me say, "Babe," and then saw me walk from our bedroom into the bathroom, but I didn't turn the light on or close the door, so he got up to check on me, and I wasn't in the bathroom. I was asleep in the bedroom with my niece, who was also asleep. Moral of the story, She hasn't caused any issues or any harm other than confusion, so I'm not necessarily concerned, more just curious. Has anyone else experienced anything like this? Should I be concerned? Oh my god, these things are always so creepy to me. Like, even if they're harmless entities, I can't even tell you what to call them because I honestly have no idea what they could be. I'm just gonna go with mimic or entity. Even though it's not harmless, like, it's such an eerie feeling to know that there's something out there that looks like you, or maybe there's some kind of veil that has opened or slipped up in the multiverse. You know, maybe there's a lot of different parallel dimensions and somehow a different version of you seeped into the version that you're currently in, and that's why this other version of you can't hear or see what's going on with the other dimension, if that makes any sense. It's super creepy. I don't even know what to think about it. All I know is that I am very scared of those kinds of things because I did a whole video. I've done other videos on doppelgangers. As I've told you guys before, that's not technically the correct terminology for these kinds of things, but yeah, parallel reality seems to be one of those things that I'm leaning more towards this being about. All right, encounter number 2. This one is by the user IC_company6163, and they say, context: my roommate has 2 boys. One is around 2, the other 4 to 5 years old. They share a room which happens to be right next to my boyfriend and I's room. Their door is often left cracked so my roommate can check on them throughout the night. The other night, my boyfriend went to go use the bathroom, but was stopped short by the older kid talking to something in the room. He was facing the closet while in bed, saying something along the lines of, "No, I can't. I'm in bed." His little brother was asleep and no one else was in the room. My boyfriend went to turn on the light as he was a little freaked out by hearing this, only to be startled by my roommate's kid now standing at the door saying, "I see you," then disappearing into the room. The next morning, I was sitting at the dining room table drinking coffee when my roommate's kid comes up to me and starts describing what he was talking to last night. He said it was all black, had one eye, and hands. When I asked if he was talking about what he was talking to last night and if he talks to it often, and he said yes. This morning, his grandmother, a roommate's mom, told me that he often has nightmares where he wakes up screaming. I don't know if whatever or whoever he was talking to that night is attached to him or if it's something that's in our apartment. I've always had an odd feeling towards the room and never really felt comfortable going into it or even being near the door really. There's been a few times my boyfriend and I have experienced odd things in this apartment as well, but this one just takes the cake for me. And then they made an edit. It says, my roommate and I are both spiritual people. It hasn't gotten to the point of breaking out the sage quite yet, in my opinion. These are all recent events and haven't happened very often. Right now, I'm more focused on learning what is actually there and trying to communicate with it if possible, before I make any decisions. Boyfriend and I only moved in a few months ago, so we're still learning the energy left here, whether it's from the previous tenant or predating the complex itself. I'll try to update if anything else happens. Oh my god, no. Anytime that somebody mentions communicating with whatever it is, like, I know it's not always bad. Like, it could be good. You could just kind of be like, hey, you're creeping us out. Like, maybe you should move on. Or maybe this energy needs to go somewhere else. And obviously, they're going to do that at some point and then take the necessary steps afterwards, but there are children involved as well, so who knows if this is affecting them negatively, if this isn't a good spirit or a kind spirit, I don't know what you want to call it, but something that's going to traumatize them later on. I feel like those steps need to be acted upon quicker than that, but I don't know, that's just my personal opinion. If they don't feel like it's anything harmful in that degree. Like they feel like they have time to kind of feel it out. That's totally up to them, but so scary. All right, that one was a good one. I like that. I didn't like it. It was like creepy, but you know what I mean. All right. Encounter number 3. And this one is by the user girl_unknown. And it says second time this week. That's the title. This is the second time this week that someone or something rings my apartment doorbell around this time, but there is no one there. It's 12:35 a.m. I have a camera and saw no one. My boyfriend keeps opening the door thinking someone is out of view. I told him the first time to stop opening it. If someone is on the side of the door, just speak through the door. My apartment is active, but it's been pretty chill lately. The last crazy thing to happen was we had my dog's gate thrown in front of our bedroom door. It was leaning against the wall by the kitchen the last time we saw it. It's a pretty heavy door gate too, but yeah, if this man opens the door one more time, he will be joining whatever that was in the spirit world. That's so funny. I feel like I would have said the exact same thing. I'm like, don't open that goddamn door. Especially if it's another spirit. Like he might have just invited like 2 other spirits to come join the fun. If your apartment's already paranormally active, is that the right term? I don't know. Then, oh, my shoes. Then that means that somebody else just got let in. They said these people are letting in whoever knocks on the door or whoever rings the doorbell. So you have like a line of ghosts ding-donging on your door, and they're like, hello, welcome in. Your boyfriend opening the door, hello, no one's there, and the spirit coming in like, hey, what's up? That's so funny, but also so creepy, because honestly the doorbell is a trigger for me. It triggers my anxiety pretty bad. It's like, I don't really know why. I feel like maybe it's some kind of childhood trauma that all of us collectively have, because as adults I feel like there are very many people on the internet who have shared their phobia of people coming to their door. For some reason, I think it's just from being left alone as children. I feel like nowadays kids don't get left alone as often as my generation did, because back then if you were 8 and up, they're like, you're good by yourself. You don't have to have somebody here with you. And I was the eldest, of course, so I was even more comfortable staying by myself. And obviously you had it ingrained in your head to not open the door to strangers no matter what, and you had to be super quiet whenever the door rang or the doorbell rang, or whenever somebody knocked, so they wouldn't know that you're there. And I feel like maybe that's why. So if a ghost was doing this, I would have been absolutely petrified. I would not even be able to get up to look at the door or the camera to see if anyone's there. No, ma'am. I would just be like, I don't hear anything. I don't know what that was. Okay, that one was a good one. Now, number 4, I believe we're on. And this one is by the user Matt McLean, titled A Dark Looming Figure Lurking in the Shadows Between the Buildings. They say, hey everyone, I wanted to share something that happened to me last night. I work as an intern in one of the industrial areas in Pune, and often my days stretch into the late hours. Last night was one of those nights. I was leaving the office on my bike, and it was already dark, 1:30 a.m. The streets were deserted, and the only illumination came from the occasional street light casting long shadows across the road. As I navigated through the area, I couldn't shake off this eerie feeling that I was being watched. Then something caught my eye. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the light, but as I got closer, I realized it was something else entirely. A dark, looming figure lurking in the shadows between the buildings. My heart started racing as I slowed down, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. The figure was tall and hunched, with glowing eyes that seemed to follow my every move. I could feel a chill running down my spine as I watched it, unable to tear my gaze away. Without warning, it began to move towards me, its movements unnaturally smooth and fluid. instinct kicked in, and I hit the gas, speeding away as fast as I could. The creature let out a guttural growl that seemed to reverberate through the night, sending shivers down my spine. I didn't dare look back until I reached the main road, bathed in the comforting glow of streetlights. When I finally stopped to catch my breath, I realized how shaken I was. What had I just encountered? It felt like something out of a horror movie, but it was all too real. I rode home as fast as I could. The image of that creature burned into my mind. I know it sounds crazy, but I can't shake this feeling that what I saw last night was something beyond explanation. A true encounter with the unknown lurking in the darkness of the MIDC. So if you ever find yourself riding through those deserted streets late at night, keep your eyes peeled and your wits about you. You never know what might be lurking in the darkness, waiting to make its presence known. Oh my god, yeah, that one was so crazy. What the heck could it have been? And it's so funny because it's actually held back for review by the mods on this forum because it sounds a little bit outlandish, right? Especially because this person heard it growl, it had glowing eyes, like all of those things, and he might as well be telling the truth. And I don't even know how they are going to fact check this. It says if everything checks out, like I don't know what that means. Like are they going to ask for proof? They're going to be like, I need you to go back to your work and set up a camera. Can you imagine this? Set up a camera, make sure that it's in night vision so we can see everything, and make sure you come back at exactly that same time that you were there. We want it to be 4K video so we know that it's real. I know. They said that they only wanted real stories. They didn't want horror stories, so I get it. They have to check it out. But as I said, I don't know how you fact check any of these things because I just go and give people the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes it's like, it could have been a trick of the eye, paranoia, I don't know. It could have been any of those things, but either way, it was a good story. I don't want to know what it was because that's so scary. It's even crazier that they are biking home at this hour. Like, I know not everybody drives or has a car, but I could not imagine leaving this building that I'm in right now, even at the early hour of 8 p.m. Well, I am also a woman, so that's another factor that plays into why I couldn't or don't want to be out in the middle of the night on like a bike or on foot. Like, that's super scary to me. All right, let's do one more, shall we? Let's see if there's a good longish one. Okay, this one is like medium length, and this one's by the user Springtronic315, titled Music Box. I honestly believe I heard a music box in my room. I was lying on my bed, doom scrolling through my phone, when I suddenly hear 3 notes on a music box. 1 note, a small pause, then 2 more. All 3 had distinct different sounds. It was almost like a snippet of a record playing, just a second of audio. I don't have a music box in my room. The only music boxes I know of are either in my living room or downstairs. The first one works with a wind-up and is stored so the crank can't move. The second one only works on a crank. Both are on a bookshelf in the living room where my mom was. If they had gone off, she would have heard them. There's nothing else in my room to make that kind of noise. Anything metallic or such in my room can't move by itself, and if it could, none of this would sound like the distinct notes I heard. I told my mom about it, and she said she hadn't heard anything, both in my room or the living room. I want to say I was just imagining it, or it was something like an auditory hallucination, but I don't have those. Nothing's happened since then, but in general, I feel as though me and my parents aren't the only ones here. Don't say that. I don't like it. First of all, don't admit to it because that makes it real. So you already failed right there. I'm just gonna tell you that. You already gave it the power that it needed to manifest or whatever it is that these things do. Honestly, I can't rule out the auditory hallucination, because hallucination seems like a strong word, but honestly, if you really think about it, there's so many noises that sound like other noises, and it takes you a second to realize that that's not what it was, because here at work I hear that kind of stuff all the time, and I have to do a little double take but with my ears because I'll hear something that kind of sounds like a voice or something, and then I'll hear it again later while I'm actually like paying attention to my surroundings, and I'll be like, oh, it was just like the way that the air was moving through the vents. It kind of has like this weird hollow sound, and it feels like if you heard somebody saying something like in an echoey building or an echoey hallway, that's what it sounds like, but it was honestly just the vents. And I have that happen like all the time, even when the cleaners come in on the other side of the building. Like when the vacuum turns on, it sounds like something else in the beginning, and then once I register that it was the vacuum, then that's when I'm like, oh yeah, it just sounds like a vacuum, you know? It could be like something like that, but I don't want to downplay that for that experience for anyone either, because only you know what you heard and what you saw, and you can either choose to give it an excuse even though you're not really sure that's what it was, and then that way you have some kind of peace of mind, because I do that here being by myself at work. It's like one of those things where I'm like, I have to play it off as something else, because otherwise I won't be able to be here comfortably, and it's just something that I can't really afford to play with or to give it any mind, because I honestly feel like I need to, as much as I can, not give any of these scary feelings any power or manifest anything like that in my surroundings. So I just try to keep that away from my mind as much as possible, no matter what I hear or think that I hear. So anyway, who knows what that was, but if your mom wasn't paying attention, or the user's mom wasn't paying attention and says, oh yeah, I didn't hear anything, it might have been something that actually did happen, and it's just that she didn't hear it because she wasn't paying attention. She could have been on her phone, she could have been watching TV. I don't know. The author didn't mention whether there was anything else in the background, like whether the mom was playing videos on her phone, or like if there was anything else that could have possibly factored into this. They didn't say as much, but I feel like it could have been a number of different things. And if it was a music box, I wonder what that could specifically mean, especially if there was nothing else that happened after that for this author. Like if that was like a one-time thing and then never happened again. I would like to know more about that. But I was going to finish there, but I actually want to do one more just because I have a little bit of time. So let me get one more in here, okay? Don't say I never did nothing for you. Okay, I like these kinds that it feels like they just wrote it on a whim, like when it just first happens and you're like, oh my god, like I need to tell somebody about this. This is how I was when I was doing those TikToks or those stories on my Instagram. I was immediately picking up my phone and being like, okay guys, this is what happened. I don't know what it was, and this is exactly what it's giving me. This one is by the user I Love Schnarks, and the title is just, dude, I'm scared. I was dozing off earlier, totally undisturbed, right? I was kind of drifting towards sleep. I shit you not, something touched the back of my neck. I felt the pressure and the warmth of a hand, but when I jumped up and looked back, no one was there. And just now, I'm in the kitchen trying to satisfy my late night munchies, and I hear someone crying, like wailing, like the kind of crying you'd expect when someone dies. I went to go check on my mom, and she's fast asleep. My dad's at work, and obviously the dog didn't do it. So what was that? Oh my god. Oh my god, one of the comments says, just go with the flow. Fuck it. That sounds like a literal fuck it, but I don't know if that's what they meant. And somebody said coyotes in the backyard. I feel like Do they sound like that? Do they sound like somebody crying? I don't think I've ever heard a coyote, but it could have been some kind of animal or something like that. But that is so scary. But how do you explain the hand on the neck? Because if you are dozing off, maybe one of these, and you didn't even notice that you did it. I don't know. I just want to help this user feel less scared, because that's literally how I do it. I cope with it by finding excuses, as I said before. Any excuse, I'll take it. I'll be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because I had shared a TikTok about my printer before, like how it goes off on its own when it's on sleep mode, and somebody was like, oh, some of these manufacturers, like, if it's on sleep mode for too long, they'll program it to like boot itself back up automatically. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I'm gonna look into that. That makes me feel so much better. And then I wrote that one off, and I was like, I don't gotta think about that anymore. And then also, all the noises I hear here, people have been like, yeah, it could be the vent, it could be the building settling. These buildings always settling. Like, how much settling do you have to do a day? Because it literally scares the crap out of me every single day. The ceiling making noises, the walls making noises, the doors making noises, creaking noises, the printer going off, all of it drives me insane, and I'm just trying to find any excuse for it to not be what I think it is. And I'm not even gonna say that I think it's anything, because I will freak myself out even more. But okay, guys, enough for me. That's gonna be the end of today's video. Thank you so much if you made it all the way to this point, and if you did, make sure to leave one of those little shadow emojis. That way I know who stayed all the way to the end, because not a lot of people do. Trust me, I've seen my analytics. And if you did, just know that I really appreciate it. And of course, as always, you already know, me and you are besties. If you are the handful of people who have been staying to this point of the video, you guys have been knowing that we're besties. And also, today's comment shout out goes to this person right here. Thank you so much for leaving a nice comment. As always, it really makes my day, and I love seeing you guys down there in the comments, just giving me your feedback. I always really appreciate it. Yeah, guys, thank you again for watching. Hopefully I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to stay safe and be kind. Bye bye.